Atomic Habits is a highly impactful book written by James Clear. This book explains how small, consistent changes can lead to remarkable results in our lives. Our habits play a crucial role in shaping our lives, as they control the decisions and actions we take every day. James Clear believes that by changing our habits in the right direction, we can transform our entire life for the better. The concept of atomic habits refers to small changes that compound over time to produce significant outcomes. These tiny adjustments, when made consistently, can guide us toward excellence in any area of life. This book teaches us that success and personal growth begin with small, foundational habits that, over time, create lasting results. Chapter 1. The surprising power of atomic habits. Can a 1% improvement really change your life? When I first started reading Atomic Habits, one line in Chapter 1 stopped me in my tracks. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. That hit me, because just like compound interest makes your money grow over time, your habits shape your life, slowly, silently, but powerfully. This chapter opened my eyes to one of the most underrated truths. Small changes make a huge difference. Not immediately, but eventually. Let me explain this with an example. If you get just 1% better every single day, just a tiny improvement, by the end of 1 year, you won't be 2x better, you'll be 37 times better. Sounds crazy, right? But that's how compounding works. The results are invisible at first, then suddenly exponential. On the flip side, if you get 1% worse every day, the damage also compounds, and over time, you end up far behind without even realizing it. What struck me while reading this chapter was that most of us are focused on the wrong thing. We focus too much on goals. I want to lose 10 kilograms. I want to start a successful business. I want to write a book. But James Clear flips the script and says, don't focus on the goal. Focus on the system that leads to the goal. Because goals are just the direction. It's your daily habits, your system, that determines how far you'll go. Here's one of the most powerful quotes from this chapter. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. That hit me hard. It means if you have a poor system, no matter how great your goal is, you'll struggle. But if your system is solid, the results will follow, even if you're not chasing the goal aggressively. This chapter made me reflect deeply. What if I simply read for 10 minutes a day? What if I stretched every morning for 5 minutes? What if I wrote down 3 things I'm grateful for every night? These actions might seem insignificant now, but over time, they would transform me. And here's what Clear says that really stuck with me. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. You're not just building better habits. You're building a new identity, one small action at a time. So what should we really do? Forget chasing big goals overnight. Instead, look for a 1% improvement every day. Build systems that make growth automatic. And trust the process because consistency compounds. After reading this chapter and applying it in my own routine, I saw the difference. I stopped chasing perfection and started chasing small progress. And honestly, it made life feel way more in control. Remember, what you do every day shapes who you become. Chapter 2. How your habits shape your identity. When I was reading Chapter 2 of Atomic Habits, one line truly changed the way I thought about habits. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. That's powerful. Because this chapter isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become through what you do. And that's where the real game changes. James Clear explains a concept called identity-based habits. He says there are 3 levels at which change can occur. Outcomes, focusing on what you want to achieve. Processes, focusing on what you do to get there. Identity, focusing on who you believe you are. Most people try to change from the outside in. They start with goals. I want to lose weight, or I want to read more books. But Clear flips this and says, start with identity. For example, don't just try to read more. Instead, become the kind of person who says, I am a reader. Don't just try to work out more. Say, I'm the kind of person who doesn't miss workouts. When your habits align with your identity, they become natural. You're not forcing yourself to act a certain way. You're just being who you already believe you are. This is me personally. I used to struggle with discipline. I'd set goals, make to-do lists, and still end up quitting halfway. But after reading this chapter, I realized my habits kept failing because deep down, my identity hadn't changed. I still saw myself as someone who tries to be consistent, not someone who is consistent. So I made a shift. Every time I finished a task, no matter how small, I told myself, that's who I am now, a focused, reliable person. And slowly, that belief became stronger because my actions were reinforcing it. Clear gives a great example in the book. Let's say two people are trying to quit smoking. Someone offers them a cigarette. The first person says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. The second one says, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. See the difference? The first person still identifies as a smoker who's trying to change. The second person has already changed their identity, and the habit naturally follows. So what's the lesson here? Don't just chase goals. Focus on becoming the type of person who achieves them. Every small habit is a vote for your new identity. The more votes you cast, the more confident you become in that identity. And the stronger your identity, the easier it is to stick to your habits. Reading this chapter made me realize real change isn't about setting better goals. It's about becoming a better version of yourself. So now, I don't ask, what do I want to achieve? I ask, who do I want to become? And then I act accordingly. Because in the end, your habits don't just shape your results. They shape you. Chapter 3, How to Build Better Habits in 4 Simple Steps. When we talk about building habits, most people think it all comes down to willpower. But James Clear reveals something far deeper, that every habit we form is actually based on 4 simple but powerful steps. These steps are cue, craving, response, reward. Let's break them down. Step 1, cue. The first step of any habit is the cue, the trigger that initiates the behavior. It can be anything, a time of day, a location, an emotion, or even a specific event. For example, when your alarm rings in the morning and you get out of bed, that's a cue. It signals your brain that a new day has started and it's time to begin your routine. Over time, your brain begins to associate this cue with what comes next, brushing your teeth, drinking water, or going for a walk. Step 2, craving. After the cue comes the craving, the motivation behind the habit. We don't just crave the habit itself, we crave the feeling it gives us. When you go to the gym, for example, your true craving isn't the exercise, it's the energy, the fitness, the confidence that comes from it. This craving is what pulls you back to that habit again and again. Step 3, response. Next is the response, the actual action you take. This is when you turn intention into behavior. Let's say you've decided to start your day with a 10-minute walk. When you actually get up and start walking, that's your response. This step is where your habit takes physical form. It's not just about knowing what to do, it's about doing it. Step 4, reward. The final and most important step is the reward. Every habit gives us a result, something that feels good, satisfying, or relieving. And this is what tells our brain, hey, that was worth it. Let's do it again. When you finish your walk and feel more awake, lighter, and happier, that's a reward. And it's this feeling that makes your brain want to repeat the habit tomorrow. Let's recap the 4 steps. Cue, the trigger that starts the habit. Craving, the desire behind the habit. Response, the action you take. Reward, the benefit that reinforces the habit. Clear explains that if you understand these 4 steps, you can build any habit or break a bad one with much more control and clarity. Why is this framework so powerful? Because habits aren't just things you do, they're a reflection of who you are becoming. Every time you repeat a habit, you're casting a vote for the type of person you want to be. Do it enough times, and that behavior becomes part of your identity. That's the real secret, not just changing your actions, but changing how you see yourself. Chapter 4. The Man Who Didn't Look Right. When I read Chapter 4 of Atomic Habits, titled The Man Who Didn't Look Right, I paused. Because this chapter wasn't just about habits, it was about instincts, awareness, and timing. James Clear shares a powerful story of a nurse who looked at a patient and simply said, "He doesn't look right." There were no dramatic symptoms, no test results to back it up. Just her intuition, built through years of experience and pattern recognition. And guess what? Within moments, that same patient collapsed. Her instinct had caught what science hadn't yet. This story made me realize something huge. Our brains are constantly scanning for patterns. And those patterns are formed by the habits we live every day. Whether we realize it or not, every repetition of a small action trains our subconscious to see what's normal and to sense when something isn't. So here's the powerful truth Clear shares. If we can learn to spot when something doesn't look right in our own routines, we can redirect our lives. Because bad habits don't destroy us overnight. They slowly shape us until one day we look up and we're far from the person we meant to become. What hit me personally? Sometimes it's not about taking massive action. It's about noticing the tiny misalignments early. The snoozed alarm, the skipped workout, the mindless scrolling. They seem harmless today, but if we keep repeating them, they become who we are. And that's what this chapter taught me. Awareness is the first step to change. Chapter 5. The Best Way to Start a New Habit. When I read Chapter 5 of Atomic Habits, titled The Best Way to Start a New Habit, one question hit me hard. Why do we start new habits, but give up so easily? James Clear gives a powerful yet simple answer. Because we try to do too much too soon. Think about it. We say things like, "I'll read for 1 hour every day," or "I'll hit the gym at 5 a.m. daily." But then life happens. A little fatigue, a busy schedule, a bad mood. And boom, the habit disappears. That's where Clear introduces the 2-minute rule. Make your new habits so easy, it takes less than 2 minutes to do. What does that look like? Want to read more? Just say, "I'll read 1 page a day." Want to start exercising? Say, "I'll just put on my shoes and step outside." Want to meditate? Start with, "I'll close my eyes for 2 minutes." Feels easy, your brain doesn't resist it. And when you repeat that tiny action consistently, you build momentum, and that is the secret to long-term success. My personal experience. I tried this rule myself. I told myself, just open the book for 2 minutes. And guess what? Those 2 minutes often turn into 10, even 20 minutes. Because starting is the hardest part. But once you start, continuing becomes natural. In the end, Clear says it best. Master the art of showing up. If you can just show up for your habit daily, even for 2 minutes, you're already winning. This chapter reminded me, if you want habits to last, make them small enough to start. So tell me, which new habit can you start today? In just 2 minutes? Chapter 6. The Secret to Results That Last. When I read Chapter 6 of Atomic Habits, one concept truly stood out for me. True, lasting results come when your habits become part of a system. James Clear explains that the biggest mistake we often make is obsessing over goals, but ignoring the systems that help us achieve them. Think about it. We often say things like, "I want to lose 10 kilos. I want to finish this book. I want to meditate daily." But Clear challenges us to ask, what system have you created to support that habit? Because motivation fades, willpower gets tired, but a system keeps going even when you don't feel like it. So what does building a system look like? It means making your habits so obvious, so easy, and so automatic that it becomes part of your identity. For example, if you want to read more, keep the book next to your pillow. If you want to eat healthy, plan your meals in advance. If you want to work out, lay your gym clothes out the night before. These small systems lead to big changes because they make the right choice the easy choice. One of my favorite lines from this chapter is, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." Powerful, isn't it? Winning and losing, it all depends on the system you've designed for yourself. Well, I personally learned, once I shifted my focus from the result to the process, everything changed. Instead of thinking, I need to hit this goal in 30 days, I started asking, what system can I follow today, tomorrow, and next week? And honestly, that's when real transformation began. Final takeaway: if you want results that truly last, stop focusing only on motivation or goals. Instead, build a system that supports the identity you want to become. Right system equals long-term success. Chapter 7, How to Stay Motivated. When I read Chapter 7 of Atomic Habits, one powerful truth hit me hard. Don't rely on motivation. Build a system. James Clear explains that motivation is unreliable. Some days we feel pumped up. Other days, not at all. So if we design our habits well, we don't need motivation to take action. So how do we do that? Clear shares a simple but powerful technique called habit stacking. This means you take a habit you already do and stack a new habit onto it. For example, after I drink my morning tea, I'll meditate for 2 minutes. After brushing my teeth, I'll say one positive affirmation. After I finish lunch, I'll go for a 5-minute walk. Here's the magic: the existing habit becomes your trigger. You don't need motivation, your routine will remind you. Clear's golden formula: after I will. It's so simple that you can apply it in almost any area of your life: health, learning, relationships, anything. My personal takeaway: when I started using this method, I felt real change. I made a rule: every time I plug in my phone to charge, I'll do 10 push-ups. And slowly, push-ups became second nature. No effort, no decision-making, no motivation needed. In conclusion, motivation comes and goes, but smart systems and strong triggers stay. And when you master habit stacking, success becomes automatic. Chapter 8, The 4 Laws of Behavior Change. When I read Chapter 8 of Atomic Habits, one thing hit me hard. Good habits don't just happen, they're designed. James Clear outlines 4 powerful laws to build and change habits effectively. These laws are simple, yet life-changing. 1. Make it obvious. The first step to building a habit is making the cue visible. Your brain needs a clear signal to start the habit. Want to read more? Keep your book on your pillow or table where you can see it. Clear says, don't hide your habits. Highlight them. When I wanted to start doing yoga in the morning, I placed my yoga mat right next to my bed. That visual reminder made it hard to ignore. 2. Make it attractive. Let's face it, we do what feels good. If your habit is boring, your brain will avoid it. So, make it appealing. Clear introduces temptation bundling, linking something you want to do with something you should do. For example, when I go for a walk, I'll listen to my favorite podcast. Now, the walk feels enjoyable, not like a task. 3. Make it easy. Habits should be effortless to start. Clear's 2-minute rule is a game changer. Scale down the habit so much that it's impossible to say no. If you want to build a reading habit, start with, I'll read just 1 page. That tiny step makes it easier to begin, and once you start, momentum builds. That's how I turn small actions into lasting routines. 4. Make it satisfying. Your brain loves rewards. If a habit makes you feel good, you're more likely to repeat it. Clear says, what is rewarded is repeated. So track your progress, celebrate small wins, or simply check it off your list. Personally, I use a habit tracker and every time I tick off a habit, it gives me a little dopamine boost that keeps me going. In short, here are the 4 laws again. 1. Make it obvious. Let the cue be visible. 2. Make it attractive. Make the habit enjoyable. 3. Make it easy. Lower the entry barrier. 4. Make it satisfying. Reward yourself, even if it's small. These steps help me turn daily actions into powerful habits. And if they work for me, they can work for you too. After reading Atomic Habits, one powerful message stuck with me. Small changes make a big difference. James Clear emphasizes that if we can improve by just 1% every day, the results over time are transformational. Big habits don't start big. They start with small, consistent steps. And those steps shape who we become. What personally inspired me the most was, habits matter more than goals. Changing your identity is the key to real transformation. Focusing on the system, not just the outcome, leads to lasting results. When I applied these principles in my life, I realized that success wasn't about massive effort. It was simply about showing up every day and moving in the right direction. Clear's core message is this: your habits create your future. And the best part? You can redesign them anytime. Just start with one small step today. If you found this video valuable, and if you're serious about creating real change in your life, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Every week, I bring you powerful lessons from life-changing books and simple strategies you can actually use. Stay connected and make your growth journey even more exciting. Hit that subscribe button, tap the bell icon, and take the next step toward becoming the best version of yourself. I'll see you in the next video with a new book, a fresh idea, and even more inspiration. Until then, keep growing, keep winning,